Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the Klyph Notes podcast. Available everywhere you get your podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Pandora, your mama's basement. It's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. Shout out to everybody who's been tapping in with us, man. All of our international folk, you know, they still rocking with us heavy in India, East Coast, Northwest, West Coast, Dirty South. We all over the place, man. Hey, yo, this one's dope, man. Like, this one is literally years in the making, and this is family. It's so dope to have him live on the podcast because it runs deep, man, and it, you know what I'm saying, and we go back, and he's been doing his journey is ridiculous, and just honored to have him on the podcast, man, so we can just chop it up like we always do, but so y'all can check it out. But yo, without any further ado, man, let them know who you are.
Yo, it's your boy Minister Fred too. No more dirty, strictly Jesus for life. : all day, far over.
What's good with you, bruh?
I'm good, family. Good, family. I'm glad to be on your show, man. What's up? The honorable DJ.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it, brother.
Notes.
Stop it. Like I said, man.
LLC, all of that. My homie, years in the game. Vet status. I'm good, man.
This dude is stupid. Yo, but for real, like it really goes back, man. And like I said, to have an opportunity to see how things have grown over the years to where it is right now is it's really nothing short of amazing. And you know how we rock. It's nothing short of just a miracle and a blessing, bro. Like,
for sure,
keeping it 100% for real.
100 all the way.
So man, let's go back, man. Let's start. So our and first up, let me say publicly now on my platform, appreciate you, brother, for having me on your platform. You know what I'm saying?
All day. Yo, DJ extraordinaire. Yo, man, always. Yeah. There's never gonna be a time I won't support. I'm gonna always promote, because you know you for real.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up.
From NY to New Orleans to Seattle to Portland to now Hunts Vegas. We in the building, bro. Ain't nothing stopping us, bro.
Word up. So let's we're gonna jump around a little bit, bro.
Okay, cool.
Since I just mentioned it, No More Dirty Radio. Let people know what that is off top.
All right, so No More Dirty Radio, it is a syndicated show we've done. We're number one in this region. We feature and play the best in clean, conscious, Christian, and inspirational hip hop, and we sprinkle it with a little urban. Most people do all the urban gospel, boom bap, boom bap, boom. We ain't ashamed of what we do and what we're about, and what we're about, the culture, the urban culture. And we just flower it with all of the soft stuff. You know what I mean? So we rocking right with you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? No More Dirty. And we're on every Sunday evening. We're on actually two major stations. We're on We Up 103.1, which is interesting because it's a completely non-Christian or necessarily clean platform. And this is the number one in our community in this whole region. And we're the only gospel, or the only inspiration, or the only conscious where you ain't got to bleep out nothing, this and that. It's just straight. We in your ear, boom bap, and it's clean, and you getting the message. And the content's bananas. We get them national, international, whatever. And so we do that every Sunday, 6 p.m. Central. So your 2 hours will be 4 p.m. on We Up. And then we double back. If you want to get it early, you can get it at 3 o'clock your time, 5 o'clock our time on G93 Radio. Shout out to my man, Ed Gaines, a Black owner and operator of Ed Gaines Entertainment. So we, buy Black, buy Brown, buy back. We'll get into that. You already know. Worldwide. And then nomoredirty.org, always, all over the place. So that's everything.
What's up, bro. That's what's up. So that's where you are right now, man. That's not necessarily where the journey started, though. So
no.
Our Connect happened. We was trying to figure out the year, man, but and then I figured it out. It was Alfonso McCarthy. That's the name that we was trying to come up with. Yeah. So so I'm up here. Yeah. So I'm up here in Portland. Started doing production with my nephew. you came up here on tour.
Right. That's it.
And then that's when we really connected, like musically. Well, no, I can't even say that because you were sending me joints that I was playing early, but then we connected in person when you came up here on tour.
And you was on the one, don't y'all get it twisted. On the ones and twos, it's official. This dude right here, man, because you know, when you tour, you trying to get the best and you trying to get cats that really believe in what this hip hop thing is and trying to really reach cats and changing souls and being a part of it, the culture. And we struggled, man. You know, of course, we was coming Seattle. We was all on the West Coast, North Pacific, Northwest, you know, Midwest, you know, all of that. But so it was great to connect with you because he was the truth, man. Like, I was like, you need to come with us. But, you know, he had wifey and other stuff, so we couldn't get him like full time. I wish we could, man, but we gonna get you. We gonna do something though, for real now, Twitty. You know what I'm saying? Now we can do that.
Word up. We still building. But I mean, you were in the mix doing your thing. That was that post Katrina?
That was post Katrina. Yes, it was. It was right afterwards because Katrina happened 05, 06. I was in the shelters and all of that. So 06, I came out. I got the Lord opened up with the break for the Katrina Fund, and then 07, 06, 07 is when it was. And people were saying, "Hey man, we're gonna fly you in to give you a testimony. We can't believe you still living." And so Pastor Mac was like, dude, we need you on the West Coast. There ain't nothing like this on the West Coast outside. You know, people were saying, you know, wanted clean music, but the West Coast was a little challenging, I think, at that time to have clean or Christian hip hop on the West Coast because there was no mainstream that would play Christian hip hop on FM radio. So the tour made a platform for the FM radios to say, hey, man, we got this cat coming from the South, you know, blah, blah, from New Orleans, home of, you know, Cash Money, no more 504 boys, you know, but he clean, dog. He clean, you know, and throwing the W's up, you know. So that was our way to get in the door.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to the West Coast in 2003. I was there before, but it was after Katrina that we connected. Because I was in the South, you know.
Right.
LA, down that way.
So go back then. Go back pre-Katrina. Like, what was your situation musically? Like when you was in the city. What was up with that?
Man, it was, I was that kid. I'm a PK, so I'm a pastor's kid, but I was like really more or less the black sheep. Why can't we dance, break dance, rap for Jesus if we ain't cussing and all the negativity in the music or in the genre of hip hop?
Right.
And the church could not answer it. They just couldn't answer because they didn't have the answer at the time. They were just, and then the church was not connected with the street. So I'm this church kid, but I'm literally, if you read the Bible, I'm a Saul to Paul. I'm a church dude. I love God, living this Jesus peace. But I'm like, why are we not introducing other people on the street who obviously is not connected in that, but they good people and they know God. They may not know in the way I know them. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, let's open up the doors for the youth services. Oh no. What? You scared? I ain't never scared. You know, like your boys say, I ain't never scared. So that caused some rift really in church setting. And that's just like with Christian hip hop. It just, they didn't know what to do with us. And so I said, God, either I'm leaving the church completely, and I was already on my way out.
Yeah.
But I knew the word because I flipped the word. So my thing is flip the B, the I, the B, the L, the E. Basic. We got to get it, G. Bust this beat, bust the move, whatever I was doing. So if it ain't that, and if it ain't Jesus, I ain't interested. But I ain't playing this church stuff either. I ain't interested in that because you're making us all look bad. And so that was my turn. And I jumped in and I dropped out of school. I was at Oakland College then, doing Take Six. All of those guys, all the big hitters in the industry was doing Christian and jazz. It was mixing jazz with gospel, but nobody was doing like hip hop and gospel. Yeah. So it was gospel rap. It wasn't no CCH and all of that conscious. We didn't call it clean. It was just gospel rap.
Right.
So from there, I dropped out of college and I said I was a smart kid. I had college scholarship. All this. Nah, I want to hit the street. And my parents was freaking out, bro. How you gonna eat off this mess? Yeah. My dad was just not. He was like, you got to get a job. Dropped out. And then, so I started rapping in the projects in the streets here and then traveling. And people was like, this dude is for real. He left everything, do this. And God was putting money in my mailbox, G.
Wow. Wow.
Now, this is not everybody's story, but this is my story.
Right.
And so by the time I just was a Jesus freak, which is why Strictly Jesus is the brand, the record label, and the brand. No More Dirty is how we get in them streets, because everybody ride dirty. You feel me?
Right.
And so these were cliches. This was not a movement. This was just cliche. Oh, that's a Strictly Jesus dude. That's Brother Fred, the Strictly Jesus dude, man. Drop a beat. And every time they cuss, I drop Jesus. Every time they cut, I drop conscious. So I was like KRS-One and Christian hip hop. When he was just, because that's my dude, KRS-One, for real. The teacher, so that's how that thing started, man, Klyph. And then and then people started calling, man. People was like, who is this kid, yo? And I was like, I come, just give me transportation and $100 or something,
right?
And just give me 200 so I can come back and put it in the savings,
Right.
And I was living in a studio, $150 a month.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. So,
but
it's
like,
it's
like John the Baptist. Let's go. I don't eat like y'all. That's why I eat like y'all. Just give me a mic. It's a G, and I got my Bible. And I freestyle straight out the Bible, which is my thing. Whereas most people free. Yeah.
No. And I was gonna say, like, I think when people listen to your rhymes, it's very, very clear. When they listen to you, like, you are literally, like, your verses are Bible verses. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't no, wait, did he just say God? What is he? Is that? No, it's very, very clear. You know what I'm saying? It's funny though. It's funny to me. So like, I'm an old head, bro. And I remember, my journey was coming up in the church, same situation where, you have to be very mindful, protect the avenues of the soul, be careful what you listen to, be careful what you see, this, that, and the third, right? But being attracted to hip hop at a very early age. And how do you balance that? Like, okay, if you're going to listen to hip hop music, if you're going to listen to rap music, you can't, it's not of the church, right? And so it's just you just keep it separate. And I remember the very first rap song that I remember hearing was Stephen Wiley, Bible Break.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
I got it still. That
was the first like, and it blew me away that, like, here's a combination of, but here's the other piece, bro. I don't think people necessarily understand, rap music, when we look at it today, this is, we look at it as this new art form, and to a certain degree it is, but it is a part of Black culture, right? When we think about doing the dozens when we were kids, right? We think about, like, I grew up and the arts were huge when you think about poetry and life is rhythm, bro. So at any rate, you had that. Fast forward, you hear other rappers making music that was related to Christianity, but the thing that oftentimes was lacking was, it was as if people were fronting because they were rapping, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the art wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? They just the whole thing wasn't there.
Well, but here's the deal, Klyph. It was still fresh, man. Like, if you had bars, you had bars. Now, whether the beat was straight, or whether you was beatboxing, or it was a Fat Boy beat you jumping on top of, or whether it was, KRS-One or Boogie Down production, whatever it was, because you didn't have Christian producers.
Right.
You really didn't have that. You just had cats that was in love with hip hop and loved God.
Yeah.
And we was like, man, I'm tired of seeing my brothers getting shot up. Let me go out here and just drop a rhyme about it and just paint my story and just kind of share my love for you. Dude, come on. Let me help you get better, man. Let's do it together.
Right.
And so hip hop is that. It was expressing, this is where we are. And we just wanted to give them some, this is where we are. That's what most hip hop is, just reality talk.
Right.
But then when you know where you are, what do we do to get out? And I think that's where the issue of clean, conscious, and Christian hip hop is different from your mainstream, just regular talk hip hop. And now it's cool because it's changing for the better, I think. Definitely, because you got a lot of conscious cats out there, especially dudes you play. I love them, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because now you can say what you need to say without all the explicits.
Right.
And as long as your beat and your production dope, you good.
Right.
But back then, Christian hip hop didn't have that level. And then you already had Christianity. The industry was like, we'll play Christian rock, but we won't play Christian rap.
Right. What's that about?
How you gonna
Right.
Jesus, and then we got flipped to two, and you weren't giving us even a spot.
Right.
So we just said, forget it. We just dropped out everything and then started hitting it. We just was like mob in the street for Jesus. And that's what forced the industry. And then shout out to Toby Mac, who was the white guy who was a rapper that opened the doors by having other African-American, other minority rappers, Hispanic, and that's how we were able to do it, because you still got to have allies.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, man.
Because we don't own all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Chopping up with Minister Fred. I think one of the things that is cool though, now we're far enough on that we can look at different stories, and we can look at people from different regions who came up and found a way to get into the industry and really put forth their beliefs, right? So I was raised Christian. I still practice as a Christian. But one of the things that I always found to be interesting is, my favorite era is the golden era, right? My favorite MC of all time is Rakim. But when I, during that era, you had Rakim, you had Big Daddy Kane, you had Brand Nubian, you had these artists who were members, as far as my understanding, members of who are Islam or practicing, 5%ers, Nation of Islam, and they would speak to their beliefs in their rhymes.
Correct.
And like nobody said anything. Like there was no, right. At least from my perspective, there was no pushback. Nobody looked at him sideways. But you have somebody who's Christian who says, like, you can say God, don't say Jesus in your rhymes, right? You know what I'm saying? And there was always this, so then you'd have cats, which is a part of hip hop, be slick with their, with their rhymes. And like I'm saying, so be like, is that dude Christian? You know what I mean? and then like critics would be like, yo, he's dope, but he's a little bit too, like, what'd they say about your guy from Chicago, Chance the Rapper. Yeah. Like, Chance is cool, man, but he a little bit too Christian.
What?
You feel me?
And that's crazy. It's crazy, but here's the thing, Klyph. Even those that chose other belief systems in America, they still had to come through the Christianity track. And let me explain.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got like Busta Rhymes and all the guys. He used to go to church, and that's up in Harlem. Like when you look at, like, all of us had a root in somebody's church or somebody's synagogue. It's just that when we saw the hypocrisy in that system, we just said, we'll go to another belief system that I don't see either that type of hypocrisy or those lies or back and forthness, or I will go to another system and say, let me just try something completely brand new. Now, if the church was handling this business in the street, opening their doors, feeding the homeless, doing what Jesus did, Yeshua the Christ, Mahdi, okay, all of that's English. That's just Hebrew, English, Aramaic, and whatever. Right. Let's just talk, real talk.
Yeah.
If whoever in the language that you know was doing that, you wouldn't have no problem with Christianity as a world system. Because when you go to the East Coast, we go to even Africa and all those places, they know who Christ is. And it's represented much better in the Eastern world hemisphere than it is in one, because we got racism and cats that ain't doing right. All these Caucasian lies in the midst of Afrocentric, and Jesus was Edenic African. So it's actually, you're absolutely right. The bro was Hebrew, he was Israelite, and that was not just a culture, it was a way of life.
Right.
But Christianity today is not a way of life. It's not pushed that way. It's just pushed as a denomination. That's the problem. So I don't want to get deep, but I'm just keeping it 100.
No, that's no, but that, yeah.
Because I say it all. You hear me in my bars. I'm Jesus Christ, Yeshua the Christ, Jesus of the Bible. The scrolls, that's the same that the Mahdi to come. That is the same as, it's just everybody got their twists on it. And they all came 1,500 years after the scrolls was compiled to call the Bible. So don't get it twisted. If you don't want to read it, just say you don't want to read it. Right. But it's real talk, bro. Right. That's the only way I'm a balanced dude, that word. Now, I read other books so I can be relatable and I can be intelligent. But don't get it twisted. The Bible's solid in its original take. Now, we ain't talking about all these other versions. We ain't talking about that. You're talking about the principles and the doctrines of Christ, the Mahdi, Yeshua. Ha, you know what I mean? Let's get it. Don't get it twisted. And all love to all my brothers who's doing something different.
Right.
But just want to set the record straight. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, B.
Real talk.
So when you're on your journey though, and you make that choice, all right, this is the direction that I'm going to go, and you have the, for lack of a better term, you have the success of, my belief is that I can do more to reach people because I care about people. I mean, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? It's about caring about people. It's about feeling that thing that we all, I believe, have inside of us, which is to take care of our brother man. And once you see that using your gifts and talents, you have success, but you don't necessarily have the support of those behind you, that, you know, that the people that you came up with, and as you talked about, people from outside of your circle saw what you were doing and said, okay, let me give you this platform. How do you, like, what was it that was that enough just to keep it going for you to just say, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, I can do it, I'm able to do it, so I'm gonna keep it pushing?
A few things, and that's a great question, Klyph. You be hitting hard, bro.
Come on, bro. You know that's what we do, baby.
One was really the love of the street. When the church was like, I don't know whether to believe. Remember, listen, the story of Paul and Saul. Saul was persecuting the church, his, you know, church folk who was saying, I'm a believing Yeshua the Christ, the Mahdi, Jesus, right? And they were crucifying people within the church, hating, judging, hypocrisy. So Saul was like, when he finally got it, he didn't get it till the Lord knocked him off of the horse, and he was out blind and all of that. But for me, that was my blind on my road to Damascus. It was like, so God, I know the institution of church and the institution of Christ, of Christianity, is legit, but this ain't right. This ain't right. And then, Lord, I said, Lord, if you want this to be, you're going to have to give me enough support that I can hang in there, and you got to give me enough revenue, money, that I can make it, not doing, because I was an engineer, 3.9 GPA, going mechanical engineer. I had 3 scholarships, but it was, my love wasn't there. Like you said, it's people, right, and seeing people better. And so as a result, it was the people in the street, man. When I would go in the neighborhood, drop a beat, they'd be like, oh, that's dope. They didn't fuss. They wanted to know more. So now I'm teaching, bro. I'm teaching because I'm doing work. And then they was like, yo, man, where you go? And then I went to my pastor. I was like, we need to do a youth church. He said, okay, you youth pastor. And I opened the gym at night, and it was for all the street. And I had a big trunk because I dropped out my trunk with all my clothes. I emptied it at the studio, and they put their guns, everything was in there. Lock it, and I had the key. So you got to kill me to get to the guns. And it was a safe place for the street. Yeah. And I would play gospel gangs, all the Christian hip hop and the conscious music while we played ball. And then I would drop a Jesus piece, which is what Jesus dropped, a parable. So I drop it and it related to coming out to life, or whatever it was. And so it was the street, and it was God himself. And I said, God, if you don't, otherwise I'm going to have to get in this cubicle and get this money a different way. Right. And I asked him, and I said, otherwise I'm going back to this. And it's just like Cassie, either going to the street, get this money, but you got to be real and say, okay, God, I need you to make a decision. And so that's what it was, the turnaround, man. And now look at it years later, I do the session, Bible Beats and Bars, and it's like a straight hip hop, like church platform, like no choir, DJ, all of that, freestyle, all of that. And we drop practical, real resources. People get what they need on Saturdays. You know what I mean? Too. So it's still the biblical Sabbath. We ain't doing all that old school fuddy buddy stuff. We just about their life. Give it to them what they need to do. Let them go about their business. Eat it up. I want more. Church group, Acts 1. Right. Because you give them what they need and you love on them. Period. Right. And that's the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Well, so I guess what was the transition for you from artist, right? Because again, you were using your talents, your gifts. What was the transition from you from artist to record label? Obviously, I mean, and I would assume, record label, because I'm making art. I got to I got to do it because ain't nobody doing it for me, right? But then
I had to eat, so that's how I ate. So in the biblical days, the priest ate from whatever was brought into the house of God.
Right.
So when we would go, we got our music made on wax or whatever it is, like we do now, and you pay the 99 cents or the download or whatever. Back then it was a CD,
Right.
you know what I mean, or a cassette or whatever it was. And people would be like, I want a guy. And I would say, well, you can buy all of these up and give them to all your kids to give them, in the street. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, double GGAs. I'm trying to keep it, I know you good, but I try,
Yeah.
for the
I feel you. I feel you.
You know what I mean? So that was it. So I realized that even after you give them the bars, they need something to take with them.
Yeah.
So my motto is just like Jesus. Jesus fed them and then gave them something, healed them, gave them money. Go and open your mouth and the fish is going to be, your money is going to be in the mouth of a fish. He gave them something tangible. Right. So that's where the label made sense and not just the gospel or the MCing. So I'm MCing, folk. I'm all over the place. I'm like, ooh, this is pretty good. So I had to reinvest back in the work, right, in the MCing, which meant make product, jerseys, T-shirts, Strictly Jesus, the whole nine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's how it went from just being that MC. I can't believe he doing this to, man, he got clothing line, man, he got product, man. And then people start ordering product, which gave me more bandwidth and opportunity to grow this whole Strictly Jesus concept, which became the company, Strictly Jesus Inc., DBA, Strictly Jesus Records. And that's how we got there.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So continuing to make music, still releasing music, releasing albums, but then continuing to grow what you're doing. And we talked about it at the top of the podcast, from you making albums and sending them to people like me to play on the radio, you know what I'm saying? To then now having your own platform.
Right.
Like, what was like, how did that come about?
It was God, bro. He was doing so much stuff. I was like, what? And so here's the deal. I dropped out of school, so I had no education. Mm-hmm. That was the crazy part, folks. It was crazy because they're like, well, where'd you get your degree? I didn't. And you want to get in my pulpit? You want to be next to the mayor without no education? I was like, yeah. I said, you give me the money. I'm like Peep Piper. I'm gonna pull all the folk, and then you can educate them, get them a GED. You can do that. And I put everything on the line. I promise you, I'm that dude. Yeah. You put me on the stage. Give me my DJ Sam Smite, who's my DJ tour with me. You know, that's my man. He a vet, New York. Walked away from the game, top 5. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was him, myself. And then what happened was that label. Then every city we went to, guess what? People like, dude, I want to run with you. Now I'm making disciples, dog. And I'm like, Jesus, I can't afford them. But the Lord started, I was like, well, I need you to bring such. Then they would pay for them. And then that meant we could make a CD, a record, an album, a single. And it just started exploding, bro. Yeah. And so by the time we got to, like you said, that's what happened. And the brand became merch. It became records. Then I'm started executive producing. And then next thing you know, like we are doing major platform conferences, and now I'm speaking because I don't have to do all the rapping. Right. Because I got other MCs. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And so I'm like, now it's like, Minister Fred was my artist name. It was Brother Fred. It was Brother Fred to Minister Fred. And literally I minister as Fred on the stage while we dropping bars and beats and, and that's really how it happened, Klyph. It was like, and so I look back and I'm like, we in this thing. We in this thing. So you could tell me to go back after that. Right. And my dad, before he passed, he said, after all those years, he said, man, I just was scared that you wouldn't make it. Mm. And I said, I get it. And on his deathbed, he said, man, I'm proud of you. Man, I cried like a baby. Because we were on different ends on that. Right. But he saw it from me sleeping in the car, in a room, a studio, 150, Yeah. I mean, crazy. I would spend my money on the music and the ministry instead of having a nice crib. Right. And then Katrina happened, man, and I lost everything. And guess what? While I was in the shelter, I was helping brothers not kill each other and trying to do some of their life, get their paperwork together because I'm educated. Mm-hmm. I'm just no money. Right. And then the FEMA director, we were in the last FEMA building in Birmingham. He said, man, I appreciate you, Pastor Fred. He called me Reverend Fred. I said, Minister, no, Reverend. You Reverend here. I was like, okay, Reverend is God's name, but I get it. Right. And he said, where do you want to live? They found me a huge 3,600 square foot house and sent me back to Oakwood, got me my first semester of to go back to school because I dropped out.
Yeah.
And 20 years later, I graduated from Oakwood University, the same Oakwood college I dropped out.
Wow.
And I'm sitting on 3,000 plus square foot acre with a studio in my place and renter's assistant to cover 5 years so I can graduate. And I worked 3 jobs where I had nobody, riding on my bike, cleaning toilets at the thing, going at night, doing a elite program, then turn around and busting suds at a mom pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And got my degree 20 years later. So now I can tell all these, you can get it, bro.
Yeah.
If you hustle that hard illegally, hustle that hard legally.
Right.
Feel me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And let God blow your mind. Now I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna do. I just ride now. I buckle up, let go. For real talk, man.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a powerful example of, when we think about these grand things that have happened to people. And I think maybe for me, it resonates because I lived in New Orleans. I moved away well before Katrina, but my people like you were obviously impacted and affected by it. And we think of how devastating not only Katrina was, but continues to be. As I understand, there are places in the city that have still not been touched since the destruction. And to see you continue to have that vision, what I'm saying, to see you to continue to have that vibe, that drive, I think is powerful. Mainly because for me, not because of what you have done and what has grown with Strictly Jesus and No More Dirty now, but you seem to continue to maintain that same purpose of reaching out and helping other people, which, when you lose everything and then you say, but I'm still going to try to help somebody else. Like, that don't make no sense, but you realize that don't make no sense, right?
Hey, but we was all in it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it don't make no sense, but listen, none of the guys, we had nothing. Yeah. And Bush was not saying when we were going to get a check.
Yeah.
There was no timeline. No timeline, Klyph.
Yeah.
So either we turn on each other, which is what happens a lot of times in inner city. Well, no, or we just say, okay. And so what happened, I started in the shelter, I started a hip hop church because we all love hip hop. And that's how the song God is Good, which is probably going to be, that's the one. The God is good all the time, every time, even when I don't believe. I was laying on my cot, cussing and fussing God out.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know why. Dude, I'm not that dude. Why am I here? He said, now, I didn't bless you with all these years. Am I good when you have nothing in your pocket, G? Am I good when I can't see? Am I good when I don't know where my next watt is coming from? And that's how the song came. And I performed it at the chapel in the basement of the shelter.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And they was like, man, we need to start doing this once a week like church, bro. And we started church in the Catholic priest, he stopped even teaching. He said, man, Reverend Fred, you go ahead. And I started teaching and just a little quick principle out of the New Testament, but whatever.
Right. And
rap. And then I would open it up with freestyling. And people started, I want to sing this, and I want to sing that, and I want to sing that. And we turned it to my urban worship and praise. So it was hymns that I flipped into hip hop. Like, I'm telling you, bro, so yeah, it is crazy, but we serve a crazy God, and he crazy loves us, you know what I mean? And so I just encourage people, I don't know who's listening to this, but let me tell you something, he ain't gonna leave you. You just gotta give him a chance to be God. And that's my big thing now. I didn't know how big God really could be or is until I was like him on my back and had nothing.
Yeah.
So now I'm bold enough to ask for it all. Give me the whole world.
That's what's up.
So I can glorify him and make sure everybody on my block, in my community, my city, everywhere I go, I'm like Jesus. I'm gonna heal the whole city. When I leave, they're gonna be like, now that dude, he real.
Yeah. Yeah.
You give all the glory to God and put the resources, all of it, money, everything back into people's hands. Jesus healed the whole city and left like he never was there. That's how I move. With our tour, that's how we move. The imprint, you gonna know No More Dirty Streets. You gonna know the imprint, but that's it. You buy the merch, keep moving. We go to the next city.
So like we said, man, we gonna keep it 100 here. So we're recording this this is March of 2021.
Yep.
We came out of 2020 and it's been interesting. 2020 hit a lot of people literally all over the planet in one fashion or another. So I was at my 9 to 5 and I was talking to someone earlier this week, and I was saying, it's crazy when I think back to last year. So we had here where I live, we had fires that were coming through, and wifey and I were like, we had to pack up the cars, man, because we were in the evacuation zone.
Wow.
Didn't know where we were going. I don't have any family here in the Northwest, right? So didn't know where we were going. You had the virus that kicked off. So now it's like Lord, am I going to be able to keep my job? Right.
Yeah, right.
And then on a scale that we haven't seen before, in great part, just because technology has now afforded us the opportunity to see things that have been going on for years and years and years. But now, because of technology, we and everyone can see it. And so we saw the jump off of the outspokenness, civil unrest that happened. So we had all of this stuff happen in 2020, right? And then you talk to someone who has been impacted by that, right? Someone who has lost their job because of COVID-19, someone who has been affected by the fires, and someone who is at their wits' end because of the way that they look. They are concerned for their well-being, for their safety, just moving through life, right?
Yeah.
And then here I come talking about, okay, but Jesus loves you. Like, what do you do with that, Fred? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so keep it at 100. I don't necessarily come off with Jesus loves you, the conversation. I come off with, how can I help you? And it's like when Jesus came to town, nobody knew who he was until after he did his work.
Facts.
Jesus, remember the dude was blind, Bethesda. He's at the pool of Bethesda. All of that. Yeah. Blind. Yeah. He said, man, you want to be made whole? He said, man, I've been trying to get healed. I'm in here for 35. He said, I didn't ask you that. You want to be made whole. It's a difference between being healed. You're right there, that moment, I need to eat because I don't have no money. Right. And whole, I need an employment. So I work on that wholeness. And I tell brothers, and actually, let me tell you, that's funny you're asking, because I work in the city. I do all the youth and family service for public housing kids in the projects. Ain't that something? The same neighborhoods I was rapping, now I am the coordinator of all of that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, God will do stuff. However, to answer your question, that's what I did wherever I go, or somebody say, I said, well, listen, here's the deal. I said, what do you need? Rally the support, and then say, man, I'm praying. You mind if I pray for you? If they're not a believer, then they'd be like, man, I'm good. I said, well, would you mind if I pray elsewhere at a different time? Because, you know, God got you, bro. Well, I don't know, man. I just know I need this help. I bet. True. Or the other thing is, what happens is, I started No More Dirty as a nonprofit. We just come in and just take care of it. And then put sign, Team No More Dirty and Yahshua. Pay the bill.
That's what's up.
You now have to deal with Yahshua the Christ. I'm done. Wow. If the dope man can come in and pay everybody's bill and say, sell my crack, I can do the same and say, I want to introduce you to the real deal, Yahshua.
That's what's up, B. That's
Feel me? Because talk is cheap. If you ain't putting it in the walk, if you ain't doing it, and then people will be like, man, why you do that? I said, because Christ did it for me. And do you really believe in that? Yeah. Check us out. Saturdays at 2. Here's a CD. I'll let my boy. No pressure. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
And to this day, all my crew, X everything. X everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I posted today on Facebook, my boy just got his degree from the trap. He on vacation. So go chill out. So we doing something different this Saturday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to celebrate people's freedom and their liberation. And then I was on the front line with the Black Lives Matter and with all of the initiatives, and we had the monuments moved. So I'm not going to say, man, that ain't right, prejudice is real, and that I'll be on the front line. I'm a hypocrite. So 2020 for me was eye-opening, but it was like, either you say you Minister Fred or shut your mouth.
Wow. Yeah. No, 100%.
That's real talk.
So you mentioned that, man. You mentioned your involvement in putting forth the idea and the concept of being real. Like I try to live my life by a statement that I put it on a t-shirt so I can't front, you know what I'm saying? Louder than words. That's how I try to live my life, you know what I'm saying? And so you talked about putting forth that action. And one of the things that you are also involved in is the idea of buying black. Can you speak to that?
Sure. Yes, sir. Okay. So one of the challenges we had in 2020 around the world, obviously, was the fact that all of our Black businesses were, majority of Black was folding, literally. They weren't getting the PPE, no PPP. They weren't getting none. I applied 4 times, got turned down every time. And I have a brand. If you don't have a brand, oh Lord, have mercy. So what happened was, I'm getting calls. We doing the marches. We doing this. I'm the part of Poor People's Campaign. Dr. King was assassinated because of economics. And so I finally joined on with them. And then we all got together. And I said, you know what? At the end of the day, we could talk Jesus. We could talk this ain't right socially. We could be conscious, don't believe in God. We could, whatever the flip you say. It could be all of that. But if you ain't got no money, I got to do what I got to do to get this money. So don't talk about the dope boys. Don't talk about the chicks on the strip on the pole. Don't talk about, cats that don't know who they want to be, a guy today, a girl tomorrow. They're getting their money. Don't say nothing to anybody if you ain't a part of the solution. So I was praying about it, and I was talking to all my homies that we ride the whole camp. And I went to bed one night, and we were just talking about Black economics. And I was watching some of the other cats that's doing big things around the country. And the Holy Spirit just inspired me. I started writing a rap called Buy Black, Buy Brown, Buy Back. And it was a rap, man. I even put it out, really. We just finished it. So I ended up dropping a new album during quarantine called Quarantine, Exit the Trap, the mentality, as well as the trap physically, whatever that is. And so I wrote the song Quarantine, Exit the Trap, Buy Black, Buy Brown, Buy Back, And so the Holy Spirit was like, that's it. So I said, it was a small business initiative that launches next month, April. And it's Buy Black, and it's a network of Black businesses around the world and locally here as well, definitely. And you, as you put your information out there, we're $1.4 trillion leaves the Black neighborhood alone. I'm not even talking about the brown, Black neighborhood in 3 hours, 1.4 trillion. So my desire and my goal is with this campaign is that as much as that 1.4 trillion, we getting it back. We're going to recycle, reinvest, recidivism rate. We're bringing that back so that people don't have to go back to the slammer, because now you can say, look, I'm going to provide a job. I'm going to provide access. But if I don't have the money in the Black community to do that, then I've got to deal with someone who's not Black, who may be racist or undertone.
Right.
And all these money sitting at the top, and it never comes down. Yeah. So it's a small business minority initiative. And I don't even like using minority because we're the majority. They just have the money, which makes them the majority. All these, they marrying us off. Babies looking mixed and come on, I don't even want to go down there. But I'm just saying, focus.
Right.
Recycle, reinvest, restore. And so it's a Buy Black. It's all Black businesses. Buy Brown and Buy Back. So I've been working with some Black realtors and some brown realtors to buy up all the expensive and the blighted neighborhoods right now.
Right.
So you're going to have to come see me or us, business investment company, all Black and brown. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And say, I want that.
That's powerful.
Now I got to meet with the churches, and we're getting ready to buy. The churches get ready to buy up. We laughed at TD Jakes, but he was a smart man.
It's powerful.
It doesn't have to be all the others. Why can't it be us? And so that's why we do that. And that's what the Buy Black Buy. So it's on our website at nomoredirty.org.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. And it's cool because I think one of the other things that comes to me, one of the other things that comes from your story is the idea that you can do it, right? We started the conversation talking about when you had this mindset in this, and again, I resonate with it coming up in a group, whether it's a church group or whatever the case may be, where I have this belief system, but I am being told by those who I respect that, no, you can't do that. For whatever reason, you can't do that. and you
Right.
did it, right? You just explain this process of going into a situation and making a change, and you can do it. So
Yeah.
now what legacy are you
Come
then
on now.
leaving for those coming behind you, right? So instead
Yeah.
of people believing what we can't do, you learn and understand, no, I can do that. I have
And what
these
we are
examples.
doing.
Yeah.
And what are we doing? It's the what and the can and will.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he
100%.
said, it is the Father who wills us to do all good and perfect thing. Every good and perfect gift comes from God.
Word.
So if I get with God or get with my higher power and I say, man, God, I believe I can do this, or I want to do this, connect me. And he has literally did it. Man, end of the month, I'm going to LA to connect with cats doing it. I'm going to Oakland where we're going to deal with the brothers, the Panthers, and other organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, this is happening.
Yeah.
So there's nothing we can't do.
Yeah.
He said, we can do all things through Jesus Christ, Yahshua the Christ, who strengthens me and you. So it's really on us to say, okay, I've heard a lot, I've seen a lot of stuff, bad experience, church, and da. Forget all that. Now I'm going to talk to Yahshua myself. I'm going to talk to God. To God, I have not because of this, but I want to believe you, but I don't know how to. So show me how big you are.
Yeah.
And that's my new thing. God, show me how big you are. Like, show me how big you are.
Right.
As long as you think I can handle it, as long as you know, and I think I can handle it, because I'm the one that think he knows the end from the beginning,
Right.
then we good. And that's really what's happening, man. And look at what's happening. Black Lives Matter. Let's look at all the initiatives, black and brown. They are change. You got to change. Don't tell me what we can't change. That's why we're doing No More Dirty TV. That's why we're doing No More Dirty Radio. That's why you're doing this podcast. That's why you got your show. You cannot tell us what we can't do.
Yeah.
You are me, cuz, homie, son.
Right. Nah. You straight. All right. So let's do this, B. You have a myriad of things that you are curating. And the cool thing about that, which is one of the things that I have strived to do is really create access, right? So people now have access to many things that you were doing. So if people are trying to access, if they're like, yo, I want to figure out how I tap in. There's a number of ways that people can tap in. So let's start with No More Dirty Radio. One more time, let them know if they want to tap into No More Dirty Radio.
If you want to tap in, you can go all social media platforms, No More Dirty, DIRTY radio show. It's on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. If you want to find out about, just get in touch with us. It's info, INFO, the @ no more dirty.org, or just go to nomoredirty.org. And again, if you want, we doing everything exclusively on the YouTube, so you ain't got to worry about nobody stopping you. It's No More Dirty, INC as in incorporated. We just abbreviated because we're a conglomerate. And then that way you can get it all. You know what I mean? And then you can get with my man DJ Klyph. You already know, because he this is homie. Listen to me. Whatever this dude say is legit. When I wasn't doing this brother was in my corner. He was on the ones and twos. So that's, you already can get with him, period. And subscribe to No More Dirty Inc. on the YouTube. Subscribe to Klyph, DJ Klyph, just subscribe. And this is how we get our money. And don't get in trouble with the law.
Yeah. Now
we change the law with our money.
Now you people also have the opportunity to tap in weekly, because as you mentioned, every Saturday you guys present. So how can people tap in and what's going on every Saturday?
Okay. Appreciate that. YouTube, our YouTube channel, No More Dirty INC. Here's what we have. On Saturdays at 2:00 Central Standard Time, which will be 12 noon your time, is the session, Bible Beats and Bars. And it's organic, it's urban. It's like church going steroids to meet the community, and it's real. It works. All right. So you can go to check out the YouTube channel. If you do the notification, it's gonna come to you anyway. Then on Fridays, on Sundays is when we do the radio stuff, and that's at 5 p.m., 3 p.m. your time, and then also 4 p.m. your time. We Up 103.1. We Up. I'll send you the links and stuff. We can just share links, and then also G93. It's an online radio show. You just go on to Live 365 and then, download the app. And then on Fridays, we air the new episode of the No More Dirty TV show. Now we do the rerun or the replay on Wednesday night, and it's all at 7:30. So we 7:30, 7:35 is the jump off. And you can just comment. And if you got music videos and you're trying to do something to check, man, we reach over 400,000 people just with our radio show, not to mention online. So if you get with Klyph sign off on it, we good. But you got the information. So I'm just saying, it's on you to be as small as you want and as big as you want. It's up to you. You know what I'm saying? And anything Klyph, man, bro, you already know, bro. Like, I love you, bro. For real,
no doubt. No doubt, man. Listen, like I said, Bree, I can't thank you enough for one, just for your friendship, bro. You know what I'm saying? Over the years, it's been so dope to continue to build, you know what I mean? And even for an old head like me, bro, you know what I'm saying? What you are doing is an inspiration, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. I came away from the interview that we did when you had me on the radio show, and I had to sit back and reevaluate and reassess. You know what I'm saying? And so just know, man, you continue to be an inspiration even to an old head. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't old, man. You older. Don't get that twisted. Don't, you only as old as you think. You know what I mean? And
That's
I want
love.
y'all, I'm gonna plug, man. Y'all make sure y'all stay locked and loaded, man. DJ Klyph, man, for real. Everything. Klyph Notes, Productions, LLC. You spend your money. I spend all of my money in Black and brown business, except for my utilities to big companies. I cannot. And one day we're gonna do that.
That's what's
what I'm saying? So
yeah,
man, do that, man. And I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you taking the time to let me hang out with you on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had enough time. I would creep up to Portland. I may try and do that. I don't know, bro.
Word up, B. We're gonna have plenty of time.
That COVID level, I'll be like, salute.
Exactly. I'll see you from a distance. I'll see you from a distance. Yeah,
we'll be doing this a lot more. You know what I'm saying?
Word up, yo. The homie, Mr. Fred. No More Dirty. Tap in for real. Strictly Jesus all day long. Once again, bro, appreciate you, man. Check out the Klyph Notes podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Pandora, anywhere you listen to audio, because we everywhere now. So just definitely tap into the Klyph Notes podcast. A couple shout outs I got to give, man. Big ups to my folk over at Akepele Apparel for their continued support of the Klyph Notes podcast. They got a new line of joints that they dropped for the winter, so tap in with them. Check them out. The website, Akepele Apparel. It's akepele.com, AKEPELE.com. And last but never ever least, big ups to the homie Theory Hazit, creating the official theme song of the Klyph Notes podcast. Yo, thank y'all so much for tapping in. God bless you all. If you want to hit me up, you can hit me at DJ Klyph, all over social media, klyphnotes@gmail.com. And then, of course, you can always subscribe to the Klyph Notes podcast at klyphnotes.com. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed until we have an opportunity to do it again. Peace.
Luke.